All right, so go ahead and state your name and tell me your ride. What are we looking at?
My name's Joe. I have a 1994 Mazda RX-7. I've owned it for about 8 years, and it was completely stock when I got it.
Wow, completely stock, huh? Because this thing looks modified very nice, very tastefully. So I really appreciate that. And you've kept the Rotary. Tell us your experience with this motor.
Well, let me just start. This is my third engine, so I've had quite a bit of experience.
Okay.
Not that I love the Rotary motor. I think it's very unique, and I think that's what kind of makes it different than any other car. You know, it's something that likes to be driven really hard, and it's something that's very tedious, but once you have it, you know, dialed in correctly, and it's great. I like it a lot.
All right, and tell us your inspiration for the build. Again, I find it very tasteful. Paint looks good. The wing is big, but it matches with the character and the personality of the car. You got a nice roll cage in it. I mean, this is awesome. Tell us, like, just piece by piece, how did this come together?
Well, I kind of fell in love with RX-7s and Rotary engines. My mom bought a 2004 Mazda RX-8.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
Just from doing research on that, I've always loved cars my whole life. So I kind of got into that, and then once she sold that, I started looking at the RX-7s, and I ended up buying one. I got this one in Vancouver, Washington, and I flew all the way up to get it. And me and my dad, we drove it all the way home, and I've just been building it ever since. I went for the the style of my build. I kind of went for more of the track look. I track it, once or twice a year, nothing super crazy, but I mostly enjoy, just driving around with my dad and going to car shows.
Yeah. So you've stretched his legs, but again, everyone appreciates it. And I love how you say it's unique. It just sounds unique, let alone when you look at the engine bay, it looks unique. It's so tiny and small in the back, and but it's good for weight distribution and all that good stuff. Now, let's go back to that. Tell us how you got into the car culture. Was it like a change in oil with dad kind of experience, or what got you into cars?
What got me into cars is my dad was always into cars. So every time he was working in the garage, he always made me help, either changing oil, doing brakes, rotating tires, and it just kind of built from there. And that's kind of what inspired me for this build.
And you kept it through your adult life, which is very tough, because we always go through our phases and changes. Now, I'm assuming this isn't your daily. What kind of other cars have you had experience with? What are some things you have at home, at the house, or what have you had driven in the past?
My first car was a 2004 Mazda 3. It was a 5-speed manual, and that was on coils, had different wheels, intake, exhaust. It was just something that I had through high school and through college. I ended up selling that, and I bought my daily, which I have now. It's a 2016 Mazda CX-3.
Yeah, the small SUV.
Yeah, and it's a compact crossover, and it's all-wheel drive, so it's good for going to the mountains. Yeah, it's lowered, and then it's on all-terrains. Which is kind of it's a unique setup. So it's lowered, but it's on all terrains, and it's just my everyday car. Get good gas mileage, and I needed a car I didn't mess with.
Yeah, not worry about.
And I ended up messing with it. But
just tired. So you've had experience with the brand. Could you tell us or walk us through kind of how you feel this brand has been evolving into its, future electrification? You didn't mention any Miatas. What are your experience with that, and how do you feel about where Mazda is heading to in the future?
The experience of the brand's been good. I think the reliability in the brand and everything they make is pretty top notch. I've had a Mazda 3. My sister's had a Mazda 3. My mom's had two Mazda 6s. My girlfriend has a CX-5.
I had the Mazda 2, the little Ford Fiesta, but it was a Mazda 2. Yes, so, I had a Mazda 2.
The way they're heading in the future, I like how they're, staying up with the Miata brand. But I really wish they would bring out a high horsepower two-wheel drive car or rear-wheel drive car like the RX-7. They tried to do something with the RX-8, but I just believe with emission restrictions now, with rotary engines needing to burn oil, which is, when you buy them from the factory, it has an oil metering pump that actually burns oil in the combustion chamber. With that, plus they need the engine to run super hot to pass emissions. I just don't think the Rotary as a sports car will come back unless they figure something like that out. They did just release the Rotary engine will be powering.
Yeah, it's like a Rotary hybrid inline six or something like that.
The Rotary engine will be powering an electric motor, so they might build something off of that. I hope so, but we'll see.
Yeah. For future owners, if they can find a nice example of an RX-7, or maybe they have one in the garage waiting for a motor, what could be your biggest piece of advice for those seeking to build these kind of cars?
Just do your research and take your time. If you treat it well, it'll treat you well, but it's very tedious, and if you don't do the right things or do the right research, you could run yourself into issues. If you're going to buy one, I definitely would get it compression tested if you could, and just run it by a Rotary shop. If there's anyone that's selling an RX-7, and you ask them to bring it to a shop so they could check it out if you are serious, they shouldn't have any problem with that, especially with the reputation of which Rotary engines have. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question. California is going to be transitioning to electrification in the next 15 to 20 years. What are your thoughts of electric cars and the future of the car culture?
I think electric cars are cool to have as a commuter, but I hate to see gas engines go. I would. Electric's great, and they do the hybrid stuff in like supercars, which helps out for like the low end and stuff, but there's nothing better sounding than a motor.
100% agree. I really appreciate your time. I'm going to just get my camera and do a quick walk around, but again, you have an amazing build. Love it. Keep this thing running. Cool. Appreciate it.
You can check out my...
Go ahead and do your plugs.
My Instagram page is Mazdas of Orange County. It's all one word. So if you want to see more of the build and more of the car and other Mazda photos, you can check that out.
Fantastic. Thank you again.